What's happening, everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and man, another video complaining about all the dumb shit that Marvel Comics is doing. Alright, so it's not Marvel this time, actually. It's actually whoever, I think it's Sony that's making the new Fantastic Four movie. And just the more and more I read about it, the more and more I just don't want anything to do with it. This might be one of the rare comic book movies that I just flat out do not see in the theaters at all. And it's really sad and frustrating to me because, you know, I love comic books, you know, and I love, you know, these type of movies. These are the type of movies I generally get excited for. And, you know, I'm not going to be able to see it. It's just not going to... It just doesn't interest me at all. And I understand if you want to create an original story, but it's just getting a little out of hand right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you know, the Fantastic Four movie is very, very loosely going to be based on... I mean, it's going to be almost Fantastic Four in name. There's almost nothing Fantastic Four about it. Everything about this movie is just going to be the typical Hollywood bullshit that we all hate. You know, it started off with Michael B. Jordan being cast as Johnny Storm, who I'm playing as right now, the Human Torch. And, you know, whatever. I'm sure he's a great actor. I'm sure people like him. I'm sure he would actually make a great Johnny Storm. My problem is, you know, Johnny Storm's white. And, you know, Michael B. Jordan is not, and you know, this has been a constant, you know, topic of discussion. You know, some people feel like, you know, it's racist to, you know, to get mad about something like this. Man, my stuff was terrible, huh? You know, it's not about racism at all. It really comes down to, you know, the fact that it's just not a character he gets to play. You know, like he's not, he doesn't fit. And it's unfortunate. It's not, you know, what anybody wants, but, you know, that's just the way it is. That's the character's white, you know, and everything that they're doing is just stupid. All right, so and this guy, honestly, like this kid, I get that he's a kid and everything, but he really needs to shut up. Like, he needs to just stop talking about anything. Like, everybody in that movie needs to stop. There's a quote this week that really, really pissed me off, and I have to, you know, talk about it. It's coming from blaster.com. That's where I read it, and I want to read this quote to you. It's not your typical superhero film, you know. We aren't looking at this as, like, being superheroes. We're more or less a bunch of kids that had an accident, and we have disabilities now that we have to cope with and try to find a life afterwards, try to be as normal as we can. Excuse me? Like, what's the point of making a Fantastic Four movie if that's the story you want to tell? Because that's not who the Fantastic Four are. The Fantastic Four are exactly the opposite, you know? And it's not just about their race or anything like that. It has everything to do with the fact that the Fantastic Four are the type of group that lives, you know, in front of the cameras, you know? Their identities are very well known. Everybody knows they had an accident. Everybody knows, you know, that they, you know, that they're different. All of this stuff is just so well known, and I don't really understand where this kid is coming from, because that's not, and I know it's not his fault in a way. He's just kind of, you know, doing what he has to do, but you know, he's just, you know, an actor stuck in a terrible script, you know, but like, that's not the Fantastic Four at all. And if Sony wants to make a movie based on superheroes that have to deal with that type of stuff, then fine. Why do you have to leech off of the Fantastic Four name and piss off lots of people that, you know, grew up with the Fantastic Four? I mean, the Fantastic Four have been around for what, like 70 years? I mean, they're one of the quintessential comic book franchises. And now you're telling me that they're not superheroes, they're kids with disabilities. Again, I don't have a problem with telling that story, but that's not the story that we're telling here, you know? Like, that's not what the Fantastic Four is. If you want to make a Fantastic Four movie, do it right. There's another quote from the same article, and I guess I should probably link it below. And the quote talks about the script and how it's evolving. The script is evolving, on-set decisions on the fly. Things are always constantly changing. Me personally, I block out the extra noise and I focus on the job I have to do. It is important. It is an important film for all of us. We're taking it seriously, taking a lot of risks. There's so many things you just can't account for. You know, you can try to plan as much as you want, but you get there on game day and you get thrown a curveball, I guess, and hey, game plan goes out the window. No, it doesn't, okay? Because you don't take risks when it's not your story, you know? If you want to tell a story of your own, write your own story. You know, don't leech off of, and again, not the kid's fault. You know, but he's doing his group of people a very big disservice, you know, by opening his mouth and saying these things, because, you know, that's not what anybody wants to hear. And I hope this movie flops, to be honest with you. Like, there's nothing remotely appealing about this movie to me. You know, I'm tired of being negative too. Like, Marvel just, as far as I'm concerned, Marvel just had a terrible week. You know, like, everybody has every right to be really upset with all the stuff that's happened this week. And this is not making it easier, you know? Like, we actually, I think I speak for all the fans and say, you know, a really good Fantastic Four movie would be fantastic. Haha, you get that? Fantastic? No, I mean, everybody wants a good Fantastic Four movie. But, you know, and I guess I can't really speak on this, you know, intelligently, and I don't have an article to back it up, but I've heard that, you know, the story behind, you know, Sue Storm and Johnny Storm is that Sue Storm ends up being adopted or something like that, and that's why, you know, Johnny is black and Sue is white, and they're quote-unquote brother and sister. I mean, you know, that's not the story. That's not the story they're allowed to tell. And yes, I said allowed because, you know, quite frankly, you know, when you take on the responsibility of somebody else's work, which is what the Fantastic Four is, somebody else's work, granted, somebody that's probably long since dead and buried, but when you take on the responsibility of telling a story that you didn't originate, I feel like you have a responsibility to, you know, the origins of the story. And, you know, maybe I wouldn't have had nearly as much of an issue if, like, Ben Grimm, they were trying to tell me, you know, that he was the black character, you know, like he was black and not white. Like, that's a race. I still would have hated it because I don't really like them changing race or sex or anything for the sake of, you know, checking a box on the diversity checklist. You know, but I could have stomached that a lot more because, you know, quite frankly, you know, Ben Grimm, you know, it doesn't really matter what he is, you know? Like, he's not, you don't really see his human form that long. And it's not a brother-sister duo. You know, I would have had an even better, you know, time accepting that Johnny Storm was black if Sue Storm was black, you know? Like, again, it's not what my preference would be, but, you know, they're brother and sister. You know, you don't need to tell a story of adoption. You don't need to tell a story of, you know, children with disabilities. Like, if you want to tell that story, go make another movie. That's my main point. And it's just really frustrating that, you know, whoever is writing this movie is kind of pulling this crap, you know? Like, it's not what I want to see. It's not what anybody wants to see, I don't think. And again, nothing against Michael B. Jordan. I'm sure he's a great actor. And in a perfect world, I'm sure he would make a great Johnny Storm. I mean, there's no two ways around it. But, you know, the circumstances are what they are, you know? It's not personal. It's one of those things. It is what it is, you know? And it's not racist to think this or say that at all. That's not what I'm trying to do here. You know, I don't have a racist bone in my body, you know? Like, it's just, these are the facts. These are the story. And that's why I'm just so annoyed with it. I'm just so tired of all this garbage, you know? Like, why can't you... I'm not saying you have to take a story that's already been told and make a movie about it. That's fine. If you want to make an original story, that's fine, but you know, you have to at least loosely base it off of, you know, the actual story. Kate Mara is a great actress. I really loved her in what show is it? House of Cards, as Zoe. I mean, I really got addicted to that show, and spoiler alert, her death in that series is quite frankly the most brutal, unexpected death I've seen in any TV show or even movie. Like, it came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. And I really liked her character in both House of Cards. I think she's a great actress. But, you know, she's saying that it's not going to be it's not like going to be and she's backed off it a little bit, but she's basically saying that it's not going to be based on the Fantastic Four story at all, that they're essentially creating their own story top to bottom. And that's just, what's the point, you know? Like, you're leeching off the Fantastic Four name, and you're leeching off of really good fans who have invested a lot of time and a lot of money into these characters, into this franchise over the years, and you're basically leeching off of them to try to make money on a movie by saying, oh, it's the Fantastic Four. It's not even going to loosely resemble anything related to the Fantastic Four. It's honestly, it's going to be Fantastic Four in name only. And that's really frustrating. And I'm not even a very big Fantastic Four fan, you know, per se. But it's just really frustrating to me that, you know, you're going to take a franchise that a lot of people really, really love and just completely fuck it up and fuck it over, you know. And pardon my language, but I think anybody that follows the channel at this point knows that I speak fairly loosely and freely here. But, you know, it's just really, really annoying, and I think everybody's just getting tired of it, you know? Like, nobody wants to deal with this anymore. You know, you have a responsibility. You guys decided, hey, we're going to, you know, make a Fantastic Four movie, and in doing so, you have a responsibility to your fans to make it about the Fantastic Four. Not tell whatever story you want and call it the Fantastic Four so that you can get a lot of people to go, you know, sucker a lot of people into watching a movie that's not even remotely close to being what you know, claim it's going to be, you know? It's not right to do that, and it's not fair. And it's too late at this point. Like, honestly, there's no point in me making this video other than venting my frustration and letting you guys have a platform to do the same. It's just one of those things where the movie's being made and it's too late. I mean, this movie's going to be out a year from now, June of 2015, and it's going to be terrible. You know, there's no two ways around it. I think everybody's going to hate it, and it's going to be the death of comics for Sony, you know? Like, Sony, I don't know what they're thinking here, man. I really, really just don't. I'm not going to use, I was going to use Sue Storm, but I don't want to go through the hassle of changing everything on her. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the thing. So, you know, I'd love to hear what you guys think. I mean, I don't feel like I'm unjustified in thinking this. You know, I think all of us are pretty upset, you know, with the way things are going, especially for this movie. I don't think I've heard of anybody that is remotely excited, you know, for this movie. And that's a shame because, you know, the Fantastic Four, again, is just one of the preeminent franchises in all of comics. It's really the type of comic movie that we should all be excited about, you know? And I just can't be. There's nothing exciting about it. It sounds like it's going to be terrible. It sounds like I'm not going to enjoy anything about the story. And that sucks. It really sucks. And it's terrible that they're doing this to such a great, you know, not just a great franchise, but like really one of the most important comic book franchises out there, you know? Like, this is, you know, the Justice League. This is the Avengers, you know? And it deserves a movie like that. And, you know, the first two Fantastic Four movies were, they were okay. I mean, they weren't great by any stretch of the imagination, but they weren't abysmal, you know? Like, I don't think they were terrible. They could have been better, and I think a lot of us would have liked to have seen better. But, you know, this is going to make those movies look like Oscar worthy. I mean, it really comes down to that. And, you know, maybe because you've got some decent actors and actresses involved, maybe it won't be as bad as I say, but in the end, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be upset because the story is just not going to be what we're looking for as fans of Marvel Comics. And it's really unfortunate that Marvel has backed themselves into a position where they can do absolutely nothing about it. You know, like there is literally nothing that they can do about this. They are stuck a rock in a hard place, and they have to basically just let Sony do whatever they want. And that's pretty shitty. And but I guess that's what they get. I mean, I know that Marvel, you know, the people that own Marvel at this point are Disney, and in their world, they don't want Sony involved, I'm sure. But contracts be damned. So what can you do, you know? Like, there's really not a whole lot you can do other than sit back and I think even Marvel wants this movie to tank, you know? Like, I think that's why they're not, like, flexing their muscles, because at some point, I'm sure that they have some ability to you know, to have some creativity, you know, some control over whatever's happening, you know, creatively. And, you know, there's been rumors that a lot of the artists are being told not to do anything, you know, as it relates to the Fantastic Four, because I think Marvel actually does want this movie to tank, and I think they read stuff like this and they're glad. I mean, they don't want one of their franchises bastardized, but, you know, it's bad enough that the characters aren't who they're supposed to be, but now we're dealing with the whole kids with disabilities bullshit. And look, you know, I'm totally in support of kids with disabilities. You know, my mom actually works for a great organization that actually you know, is like when kids graduate from high school or outgrow the programs that are available publicly, you know, her program is a private, you know, program, you know, that basically allows those kids to have a place to go during the day and continue their development, because that's exactly what they need. So, I mean, look, if anybody understands and appreciates kids with disabilities, it's me, you know. Like, that's something that, you know, is really near and dear to my family. So, I get it, you know, but at this point, it's just one of those things where, you know, I'm sorry, it's not your story to tell here. You know, you've got, if you sign on to do a Fantastic Four movie, you owe some responsibility to Fantastic Four fans to, you know, at least you stick to some of the storyline, you know? Like, there is some aspect of the story that you just flat out have to stick to. And, you know, it just seems like give an inch and they take a mile, one of those kind of deals. It really feels like they're just kind of doing whatever the hell they want because, hey, we're in Hollywood and, you know, that's what we do in Hollywood. You know, screw your comic book, screw your story. It's just disrespectful is what it is, you know? Like, it's like they don't respect anything. They don't respect the comics. They don't respect Marvel. They don't respect anybody, you know? This is the movie I want to make, and fuck you if you don't like our story. That's literally what they're saying. And, you know, Michael B. Jordan has every right to be excited about his role. I get that. It's not his fault, you know, that he was given the opportunity to make this movie. You know, I don't begrudge him any of that, but at the same time, like I'm just kind of getting tired of hearing him talk, you know? Like, if that's what's, I mean, I guess part of me should appreciate it, because if that's what's really going on, then, you know, I guess we deserve to know. But, I mean, and honestly, because I want, you know, this movie to tank so bad, I guess I should be thanking him, because, you know, quite frankly, this is only going to help it tank, you know? Like, this is going to help people say, yeah, I'm all set with this movie, you know? So I'd love to hear what you guys think. I don't think I'm being unreasonable here. I really feel like, you know, this is something that, you know, everybody's going to kind of agree with me on. You know, you really just don't. Ah, man, you know, it's just been such a frustrating week in the world of Marvel Comics. And I'm honestly at a point where I don't even want to make Marvel comic videos anymore, you know? Like, the only reason that I do is because, you know, I've got games like this that I can actually play, you know? I can't wait for Sony's contract to expire, you know? Like, I can't wait for them to no longer be making these Marvel movies because, I mean, granted, The Amazing Spider-Man has been fine, but... and even the X-Men movies have been okay, but I don't know what they're thinking with Fantastic Four. I really don't. It's going to be a terrible movie, and you know, it's really just unfortunate that, you know, we have to you know, suffer through it at our expense, you know. It's going to be a frustrating wait, and you know, there's some rumors that at San Diego Comic-Con we're going to see our first footage of the movie, and I'm not going to be excited at all. I got to be completely honest with you guys. I really feel like this is going to be a disaster, and it's really unfortunate because you know, if you're a Fantastic Four fan, like a legitimate, true, you know, tried and true Fantastic Four fan, which I certainly am not. I'm just, you know, I like the Fantastic Four. I wouldn't classify myself as a fan, you know, like that, the same way you guys can. So I feel really bad for you guys because you guys deserve better than this, and you're not going to get it. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go ahead and I know I didn't really have much Sue Storm gameplay, but I did kind of show everybody else. You know, Mr. Fantastic I haven't played with nearly as much as I wanted to, even though actually he is my highest rated, you know, member of the Fantastic Four. So, you know, he's kind of fun. But I don't know. There's something about him that doesn't like totally capture me. So, in any event, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I have a feeling that you guys are going to you know, be in the same position as I am, where you're just really agitated with where Sony is going with this, and not looking forward to it at all. You know, I really wish I could say differently, because I love comic book movies as much as anybody, and there's nothing remotely appealing about this to me at all. So, and that sucks. It really does. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, like I said. And that is that. Fantastic Four is going to be out in June of 2015. And yeah, it's going to be terrible. So I hope you don't enjoy it, but I hope you did at least enjoy this video. And we'll catch everyone later. See ya.